here locally, and they were at a summer missions camp when they were 14 and 11, and in the middle of the night, suddenly these sirens go off, and the volunteer fire department's there saying, get out, the building's on fire. You grab your shoes, grab your sleeping bag, you are now refugees. Now, the building wasn't really on fire.
Yeah, they quickly realized that the building wasn't actually on fire, even though they did have the smoke bomb thing going and everything. But they were hustled out into the field, and they were now refugees. And so for the next about 2 days, they scrounged for peanuts in the grass. They went and climbed up trees to get bananas down, and they had to dig through this makeshift dump to get tarps to make shelters. And at the end of those, those 2 days, they received these, I don't know if you've ever seen them, the Christmas, Operation Christmas child or box.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a box with stuff in it. And the stuff they had in it,
well, like toothpaste and toothbrushes, just different items that are just, you don't really think about normally being Americans, most of us have all those things, right? But having just had this experience, they were just realizing,
how to wash their hands,
brush their teeth. And then they get home and they're realizing they just can't forget how good it felt to do those things after just a day and a half. And then they were realizing, wow, people live weeks and months and years or their whole lives like this. And then something started happening.
Well, they, driving around Portland, the city hadn't changed, but their eyes had changed. The way they viewed things had changed through this experience. And so they saw the homeless people on the streets of our city, and they realized they're like refugees here in our own city. And not only that, they are refugees that we are in a position possibly to help. And so they started brainstorming. They went to their dad, they started brainstorming, how could we serve these homeless people? Because they experienced the same thing probably most of us have experienced. You drive off a ramp, there's a man or woman there with a sign asking for help. How do I actually help this person? Should I give them money, or is that just a bad idea? They'd even once just given a guy a cantaloupe that wasn't even ripe. They had no idea how he would open it. We've all been in that situation. How do we actually help? But they put their heads together, 14-year-old, 11-year-old, talked with their parents, and just said, what can we do? The idea they came up with,
it's called H2O, Hope to Others. You may have seen there's a table out there with H2O bracelets. I have one on in my sleeve somewhere. And this, what this is they're bags with a water bottle, with socks, with different hygiene items, with non-perishable food, with a meal voucher, the Portland Rescue Mission, and a gospel tract to bring the hope of good news to the homeless, along with some other things as well. And they put these together in sacks, and they started distributing them, selling them for $3, which is just to cover their costs, and giving them out to people to start distributing. And
to have them in their cars, and
right.
So when you're in that situation, you can hand a bag to someone, and it's something that's actually going to help them, because they interviewed former homeless men and women and found out what would actually serve you and not just contribute to the problems. So this is a brilliant idea that these two girls had. Since then, they have distributed over 1,000 bags. They have starter kits that they've given to dozens and dozens of other churches and groups to start similar ministries. And in fact, their example so inspired the director of the camp they attended that the next year's camp, they ran it basically on the theme of kids helping other kids, inspired by their example. The whole next year's camp was influenced by these two girls. They were featured in the Oregonian with a story, just incredible things. Two girls trusting God, stepping outside their comfort zones.
They're even featured in this book called Do Hard Things.
And most importantly, they are here with us today. Leslie and Lauren, will you come up right now?
Well, we are so proud to have Leslie and Lauren here. How long has it been since you started?
About 2 years.
About 2 years. That is for you. But they have just come so far and influenced and impacted so many lives. And do you have anything you could just share briefly with everyone here?
I'll start. Well, basically, I just want to kind of break it down into two main experiences. They kind of pointed them out, but two main experiences that really ignited lessons in my passion to reach these homeless people. The first one they mentioned was our cantaloupe experience. It's awkward. It is awkward when you drive up to the curb and you don't know what to give. I mean, you know you don't want to give them money. I mean, we've heard that hurts their situation more. And we happen to have a cantaloupe, and that's what we gave him, not having any idea how he would even open the thing. But anyway, and so having that situation, that experience of wanting to do something, wanting to reach out, as the Bible tells us, have mercy on the poor, have mercy on the needy, but we didn't know how. And so that was the first experience that really gave us the passion, the want, the desire to come up with a solution. Then the second thing they also pointed out was the boxes we received. And how many of you have a toothbrush at home? Okay, so most of you have a toothbrush. And I'm one who really likes to brush my teeth. That's a very special daily chore. But after going through that day of not brushing my teeth the entire day, we didn't get to take our curling irons and toothbrushes out on that field. And but after going through that day and receiving that box with something so little as a bar of soap and a toothbrush, it really impacted less than I think, wow, people, including the homeless people, live weeks, months like this without something so simple as a toothbrush or a bar of soap. And so when we got back, we just kept thinking back. The first time we brushed our teeth after that day, it felt so great. And so we wanted to do something we couldn't travel around the world. We were only 14 and 11. So, taking these boxes to refugees is kind of out of the question. But we saw these homeless people that had a similar need, but more than just this physical need, they had the need to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we've been singing here and talking about this amazing God, and Jesus Christ died for these homeless people too. And so that was our desire, to bring physical hope to them through a little meal, and to bring some spiritual hope through a gospel tract. All right, well, as you know, we were 14, 11 when we started this ministry, and it was kind of a scary thing at first to be, thankfully we had parents we could go to and ask about this, but so we went up to them and we were just completely clueless on how you're supposed to start a ministry. And so we were completely weak, and we still are weak in the process of continuing to fill bags. But I want to encourage you with a verse from Scripture, because I know probably a lot of you guys feel the same way about trying to do something hard. It is a hard thing to do something hard, or to find something to do hard too. And we are all weak, we're all humans, and as Mr. Harris said, it's our nature to just not be able to do very much. But God is giving us power. So I want to encourage you with 2 Corinthians 12 and 9 through 10.
Maybe hold that for you.
Okay. It says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why for Christ's sake I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, and difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong." So with this verse, I believe what it really speaks to me when I'm trying to do something hard is, first of all, God's power is made perfect when I'm weak. So when I'm humble and when I'm weak, God can work better through me. His power is made more perfect in what I'm trying to do when I can't do by myself. And then second, the second thing is how it says we delight in our hardships, we delight in the difficulties. Why? Because that is when Christ can be our power and he can give us grace. So I encourage you that even though it is hard, even though there are trials and it's hard to figure things out and we are weak, God's grace and his power is sufficient for you and for me. And we can all do something hard with the power that God gives, because it is infinite power. And he doesn't just give it to one person. So I encourage you.